What are some of the most toxic or potentially dangerous ideas/beliefs that have been perpetuated by Redditors? Think about the subjects that you have an immense amount of knowledge about. Maybe you've spent your whole life studying it. Now think about all the times you've seen a well-written comment on Reddit with thousands of upvotes that is completely and verifiably wrong. Now think about all the subjects you know nothing about, and all the times you've learned something from a well-written comment with thousands of upvotes. You'll read comments and think, wow, these people know so much about this topic, but then a topic will come up that you have expertise in, and you'll realize that people on this site just pull answers out of their ass with confidence. Also, after enough time here you'll start to realize the average demo is on the young side and has very little life experience. Keep that in mind when you scroll through the comments. Everyone is an armchair psychologist. You post about feeling sad sometimes and inevitably someone is like that's because you have atypical depression and bipolar disorder or whatever. Reddit has a tendency to label people toxic and encourage relationship advice that isn't great. One example of this, a medical doctor posts a well-written comment about the dangers of overprescribing antibiotics. Top comment of the thread. Tons of awards. Later a second-year med student posts a similar comment. Still well written but maybe misses a few key points specifying how and why. Again, top comment of the thread. Gilded to the nines. Later a college freshman bio major writes a pretty bad summary of the situation but it's part of the Reddit hive mind echo chamber so anyone who bothers to correct him gets misinterpreted and downvoted. And so on until someone literally tells me they read on Reddit that taking antibiotics is dangerous and will lead to a super disease that will wipe out humanity. Come on Reddit. That people who use Reddit are somehow superior or more in the know about things than people who don't. Worshipping celebrities. 10-year-olds don't need to receive death threats because he's never heard of a 55-year-old actor. The Boston Marathon bomber. Reddit started a whole shitstorm by identifying a missing person as one of the bombers. Sunil Tripathi https://wikipedia.org Sunil Tripathi was the innocent person that got mistaken for one of the bombers. There was a lot of fallout and users tracking down family members, friends and even high-profile news people sending out messages that it could be the bomber. https://www.bbc.co.uk News Technology 222630020. The general belief that how an idea is presented is more important than what is being said. I can't count the number of times I've seen bullshit conjecture with clean grammar get upvoted past someone who actually knows what the duck they're talking about from direct experience but can spell for shit. Too many people unknowing assimilate into the hive mind. Like, if you start to agree with all the most upvoted posts every day, and get angry upset when someone makes a valid point against what is clearly right correct, to Reddit, it's time to back away slowly. Ramithias Hole used to be a great place where you could get an honest opinion on whether or not an action you took makes you an asshole. Sometimes you still might get an honest comment or two, but the amount of times where I've seen neuter responses get removed or downvoted to oblivion, while others are screaming they shouldn't have been slightly mean to you if they didn't want to get murdered. Exaggeration, but I'm shocked half the time I look at the comments. Edit. Some hours after this comment this beauty got posted https://www.reddit.com Ramithias Hole comments E3OJ Tata for telling me pregnant Philubisha's gotta have? Source shared media misappat Namiros basically a bunch of kids telling an irresponsible homeless person who, probably, made a child with another adult that it's too bad, him not being a father. Overwhelming Witch hunts and doxing are okay if the average Reddit user doesn't like the target. If your partner does anything at all that you dislike, you should dump them, take them to the police, avoid all other partners in the future, etc. Particularly prevalent in relationships. Relationship advice. Am the asshole and even just AskReddit itself. It's rather appalling, and it seems to be pushed by people who have no idea what being in a relationship is actually like. It's not ducking easy basically. You want to love something and be in a completely committed relationship? Prepare to fight for it, because it is not easy. Glorification of selfishness. I get the impression a ton of people on this side have difficulty asserting themselves, or recognizing or setting their own boundaries, because Reddit is full of advice geared toward people with these problems. What these posters seem to forget is that not everyone is codependent with self-esteem through the floor. And yet anytime anyone wants to get out of something that someone else wants them to do, Reddit leaps to no as a complete sentence. Put yourself first. Don't jade. In real life though, maintaining healthy relationships requires sometimes doing things you aren't thrilled about for others' sake. Stereotyping, in general, seems rampant. Many comments and posts seem to believe that individuals are incapable of independent thought and just reflect the race, religion, gender, ethnicity, group, nationality, political party, subreddit culture they belong to. People are varied even within ideologies. Argue points and issues, not identities. Some people here don't think cats can have salami. To an extent, Reddit plays a role in the growing anti-intellectualism. There seems to be a large assumption that this is a website of experts and lengthy replies must be credible. I saw a fellow Redditor describe it perfectly. You finally realize how little most Redditors know when they start talking about a topic you happen to be well researched in. I see this in two places primarily: topics about public education, I am a middle school teacher, and topics such as anti-vaccine. I understand Reddit hates anti-vax for good reason, but it is also stuck in the old anti-vaxxers are just stupid stereotype. Instead of educating and helping the problem, they just poke fun. This unfortunately drives more anxious parents toward anti-vax communities. A little empathy, understanding, and education would do more to combat ideologies such as anti-vaccines than anything Reddit actually does. We did it, Reddit. Reddit is very much guilty until proven innocent. They will jump straight down the throat of any alleged criminal with zero facts, zero context, and demand they be sentences to years behind bars, or worse. Hell, they don't even care if it's the right guy, just that somebody be punished. Remember when Reddit found the Boston bomber and the guy ended up killing himself? https://www.businessinsider.com Brown student falsely accused of bombing dead 2013 4. I've been downvoted to hell for the simple comment along the lines of, maybe we should wait for all the evidence to come out. We don't know the whole story. Reddit is absolutely bloodthirsty. Love yourself before you love someone else. While the intention is good, some people take that a little bit too far. Having a disability is something to accept. This should however not mean that necessary or cool surgeries should not be done. Glorifying physical violence, assault because someone said something disrespectful or mean to someone else. Edit, never been given an award before, thank you to the kind person who saw it fit to do so. If you are a mod and you don't agree with something, you can ban them. I am so ducking tired of this umadbro culture that nerds love to spout. Apparently having emotion about something important to you means you immediately lose the argument? And I notice that 9 times out of 10, the person saying umadbro is the one raging. Social media bad, Reddit good, emoji bad. Those people who make introversion out to be an excuse for some pretty terrible antisocial misanthropic unacceptable behavior. I don't like loud spaces and can feel overwhelmed by crowds of people. I would pay not to go to a concert. I also genuinely love the people in my life and will always make time for anyone who needs me. In my experience, this is true for everyone, extroverts and introverts alike. That the optimal solution to personal relationship issues is to end it, cut contact and/or leave town. Absolutely hating on those that deviate from the norm. Hating on people that conform to society's norms but not Reddit's norms. Hating on people trying to have fun or hobbies. That you can agree to disagree. There are far too many issues, policies, beliefs and lessons that we absorb as human being. Short of the other person being rude or hateful, Redditors as a whole don't know how to accept another view contrary to theirs. I find this to be true everywhere, but the idea that if someone holds a different opinion to you they are automatically stupid. Especially when it comes to politics, many topics are much more intricate than the average Joe realizes and people are in comments getting absolutely furious instead of having reasonable discussions. Failure to acknowledge any nuance or gray areas. People feel the need to go all in on one side for any issue. I think they feel they'll look weak or hurt their argument by relenting on any point. Or having a discussion on any point. That the only answer to any kind of relationship problem is to immediately break up, even if it's a problem that could easily be solved with a simple conversation between partners.